Alright, I am back with another video after a little bit of time off. There just really wasn't anything happening in the game. I've mostly been farming Borderlands, so Destiny time was kind of down this past week, but now we just hit reset, and well, there still really isn't anything happening in PvE. We did at least see the return of Iron Banner for the first time in Season of Arrival, so I thought I would talk a little bit about my experience with that so far. I have done the Pinnacle bounties on 2 characters now, so that's probably like 20, 25 games, something like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the new quests, the new loot, the matchmaking, which is a change, and just general thoughts about it. We'll start with the quest where Bungie essentially decided that they were tired of people complaining about the Iron Banner quest, that it was too long, it required too many like arduous steps. So the quest is essentially just almost nothing now. There's no multi-step thing. It's just get 25 auto rifle kills and 25 sidearm kills, and that would get you at least one copy of the new assault rifle and the new sidearm, which are technically old, but they are back with new perks and stuff, so it's different. There's actually a trick to get 3 times the drops of those through that quest as opposed to just one. I wrote an article about that earlier today, and if you want to check that out, I will put it in the description. Something to do before you finish that quest, which I did not find out until after, so I was out of luck, but I just had to grind for the loot the old-fashioned way. The quest is very fast. You don't need to complete it to turn in your tokens, so you can just start slamming tokens right away. You will have to do it if you want the auto rifle and the sidearm in the loot pool. That's the catch. So it's not that hard. I know some people are complaining about the sidearm kills, and if you're not used to playing the sidearms at all, I can understand that, but compared to past Iron Banner quests, it's not that bad. And you even get like double progress for headshot kills and stuff. So I think most people should be able to get through it at some point. And the loot is very good. These 2 new weapons they brought back, both in terms of just general stats and the perk pool, are very solid. It's probably some of the best Iron Banner weapons we've seen in a very long time. The auto rifle, what's it called, the forward path, is really good, really good. It's a 600 RPM auto, and the role I got that I am just in love with is dynamic sway reduction, which got a big buff this season, and so the stability is crazy. But there's also the new Iron Grip perk, which gives you even more stability at the cost of reload speed. But I've just been running it with my Warlock with transversive steps, so you just sprint to reload, and you never have to actually reload, or you can just hunter dodge or whatever. There's lots of ways to get around it, and it's got a stability masterwork. So the thing, I mean, it's a laser. I don't know if it's better than Gnawing Hunger or the Summoner, but it's very good. I've loved it a lot. I don't know if there's a better role than the one I have, but I'm really enjoying this crazy max stability role, which it's probably better than anything, better than almost anything except my Zen moment Gnawing Hunger. And the sidearm I like too. It's got a really low time to kill. I don't really even know what the god roll is. The one I have, I think I'll put it up here, but it's Hipfire Grip, Rangefinder, which is okay on PC, but I normally play PvP on console, so that's not really helping me out. And I think right now, like my last hope and Breachlight and Autonomous Autumn, and there's some better options, but I'm going to keep looking for a role on that. The new Iron Banner perks are pretty interesting. I think the only good one is Iron Grip, which is the one I said earlier where you're getting stability for reload speed, because Iron Gaze gives you better target acquisition for worse range. And like when they say worse range, it's like abysmal range. I got a roll on the auto rifle that makes it look like a submachine gun because the range is nothing. And I think it's actually technically possible to get a sidearm with 0 range, because the base range of that is like 36, and I think it subtracts 40 if you get that perk. So without any other range perks, you're just... I think that the range sacrifice is not worth it on that one, like, to be clear. Like, it's not great. That said, I think the idea of Iron Banner specific perks is a good one. I mean, they don't just work in Iron Banner, but it is a good idea to have perks to grind for. Like this has been a very interesting Iron Banner because people actually have something they want to get now, and these are actually very good weapons. The armor set, I'm like kind of whatever about. It's a good source for high stat rolls and pinnacle drops, but I don't know. I'm not in love with it. It's not one of my favorite sets, so I'm not trying to go super hard to get it. The new shader is kind of nice, but I don't know. There's better ones, so I'm not over the moon about it. In terms of how Iron Banner has actually been playing, that has been the subject of some controversy because this is the first Iron Banner we've had ever, I don't know, at least for a while, where we have switched from skill-based matchmaking to connection-based matchmaking. And essentially what that means is you're playing with people just based on like your connection and how good the connection is rather than the game trying to match you with people of a similar skill level. So previously, if you were really, really good, you'd be playing mostly just really, really good teams. Or if you're really bad, you'd be playing worse teams in the hopes that you could do better. That has been removed from almost every mode in the game. So now it's just connection based. So the end result of this, it's kind of weird. I thought it was better at first, but as much as I've seen like kind of the pro streamer types being like, oh, like it's so good now, like connection based is the best thing to ever happen to Iron Banner. For the average player, let's say, which includes me, because if you know my content, I am not a PvP god in the least. It's been kind of all over the place, probably even more so than normal Iron Banner matchmaking is. Like, normal Iron Banner matchmaking is always just kind of a disaster on every level. So you're always going to see a ton of mercies, mostly because of the nature of the mode. Because if you have an outmatched team and they get the run with the wolves or whatever it's called, the lockdown of the three zones, like their lead is just going to spiral. So you just get a lot more mercies in general. But the games I've been playing have been just wild swings. Like I have my usual games where I get farmed by a 6 stack, and I've heard a lot of people complaining about that, so that's not ideal. But I had a 21 KDA game, which I don't think I have ever had in Iron Banner. It was me using that new auto rifle with dynamic sway, and that has literally never happened. And I've had a couple very, very high performing games, kind of above and beyond what I would normally do in Iron Banner, and yet I have still had plenty of just utter disaster games. So like, it kind of evens out. I don't know. It still doesn't feel great because you're more likely to remember just getting 80 to 15 stomped and mercied by a 6 stack than you are like, oh, that game went okay. And too often, I feel like the game plays fast and loose with its matchmaking rules, where it's like, oh, you lost that last game by 50, like not 100, so we're just gonna match you with that exact same team again, because why not? And then you get in, and the same thing happens. So it's kind of frustrating. I think they still have some work to do with matchmaking. I know the higher tier players are liking CBMM. I'm kind of split on it. It doesn't feel different enough to me where I can say like, yes, this is better, yes, this is worse. Like, matchmaking is all over the place. It's kind of usually all over the place. It might be a smidge better, but I also think it just depends on your skill level. I think it is definitely seeming worse for lower skill players and definitely seeming better for higher skill players. And since I'm on the lower skill end of the spectrum, probably it's not great. The one final issue with Iron Banner that I'm seeing is the fact that farming for gear in it is just still very bad, and you can't really do it. For instance, everyone wants this AR and the sidearm now to try and get rolls on them, but there is no target farming in Iron Banner. You have these bounties that give you 200 tokens per character, which is a good amount of drops, and like you get 4 drops from that, and then 10 drops besides that. But it's a big pool. You have a full armor set, and I think you have eight weapons in the new slimmed down pool. But you can easily, spend hours and hours and hours playing Iron Banner, get the 1 drop from the quest, and then not see another auto rifle. And then at that point, you're kind of just out of luck, because all you can do then is just play games for 3 to 5 tokens a match, and then get 1 drop every 4 to 6 games, depending on how you're doing, and then hope for end of match drops. But there are barely any end of match drops from what I've seen. I've played like 25 games. I think I've seen maybe three, four end of match drops of actual Iron Banner gear. So I think a couple things should happen. I think there needs to be daily bounties, like we see with trials, that give you more tokens when you complete them. So you will have just more tokens in general after those big weekly bounties are done. And I think they need more end of match drops because the rate right now is just comically low. And like I've gotten more falling guillotine drops than I have, drops of any of the weapons from Iron Banner itself. So that doesn't feel great. And once you complete the weekly bounties, like the efficiency of farming just goes way down. So I don't love that, and I think that needs work. In general, I am having more fun with Iron Banner now than I am in the past, at least because I have something to go for in the form of these new weapons. Matchmaking is all over the place, so I'm getting mercied. I'm mercying teams. It's kind of whatever. I don't think they have fixed it by any means with the current system. And then some of the bounties are acting weird, like the one that requires you to kill people at a higher power level. Even killing a good amount of people, that's lagging way behind the other ones, like the ability kill bounty used to. So I don't love that. But overall, I'm enjoying it enough to play it at least through all the pinnacle bounties on 3 characters. And that's more than I did for the last couple Iron Banners, so not too bad. I'd love to hear your own thoughts about it. I am hearing generally negative things about matchmaking from most, normal players, so I'm interested to see what you have to say there. And I'm going to go back and finish on my Titan. That's the last one I haven't done yet. Just in terms of general YouTube stuff, I am still working on getting a new mic. I'm going to play with more audio settings, see if that helps anything now. All the mics I want are on back order because of the pandemic, so I don't know when I'll be able to actually get one, but if you can bear with me until that happens, I'd appreciate it. And I am back on a Destiny podcast for the first time since what we'll call the Great Collapse. I will be on DCP Live tomorrow, Thursday, as a special co-host, and I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun, and thanks to that team for the invite. So check me out there. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.